Imagine sitting on a plane at 10,000 feet in the air. Suddenly, a blinding flash of lightning hits the aircraft. The cabin explodes apart. Passengers are ripped from their seats, and you begin falling from the sky. No parachute, no control, just spinning through the clouds toward the dense Amazon rainforest below. No one could survive that. But one 17-year-old girl did. And after surviving the fall, she had to endure 11 days alone in one of the most dangerous jungles on Earth. Surrounded by venomous animals, infections, starvation, and the terrifying possibility that no one would ever find her. This is the unbelievable true survival story of Julianne Koipska, the girl who fell from the sky and lived. December 24th, 1971, Christmas Eve. Inside the airport in Lima, Peru, travelers hurried to catch flights home for the holidays. Among them was 17-year-old Julianne Koipka and her mother, Maria Koipka. Julianne wasn't a typical teenager. Her parents were zoologists who studied wildlife deep in the Amazon rainforest. Julianne had grown up surrounded by jungle research stations, wild animals, and dense rainforest. She understood the jungle better than most adults, but on that Christmas Eve, she had no idea that knowledge would soon save her life. Julianne and her mother boarded Lanza Flight 508. Their destination was the jungle city of Pucallpa, where Julianne's father was waiting. The flight was supposed to take about 1 hour, just a short trip over the Amazon. Passengers settled into their seats. Engines roared, and the plane lifted into the sky. At first, everything seemed normal, but as the aircraft flew east toward the rainforest, the weather began to change. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon. Thunder rumbled. Lightning flashed in the distance. Soon, the plane entered a powerful tropical storm. Turbulence shook the cabin violently. Passengers gripped their armrests. Some began to panic. Outside the windows, lightning lit up massive thunderclouds. But the pilots continued forward. Flying through storms was not unusual in this region. Still, something felt wrong. The shaking became worse. Rain pounded against the aircraft. And then, a sudden flash of lightning struck the plane. The lightning strike hit the wing, fuel ignited instantly. The explosion tore through the aircraft. Inside the cabin, luggage flew through the air. Seats ripped loose. The plane began to break apart mid-flight. Julianne remembered hearing her mother calmly say, "This is the end." Then the aircraft split open, and Julianne was suddenly outside the plane, still strapped into her seat, falling through the sky. Julianne later described the fall as strangely quiet. The roaring engines were gone. The screams were gone. Only wind. Her row of seats spun through the air like a giant leaf. Below her stretched the endless green canopy of the Amazon rainforest, more than 3,000 meters below. Then everything went black. When Julianne woke up, it was the next morning. She was lying on the forest floor. Tall trees surrounded her. Sunlight filtered through the leaves. For a moment, she thought it had all been a dream. But then she noticed the wreckage. Pieces of the airplane were scattered everywhere. Seats, metal fragments, luggage. She slowly realized something unbelievable. She had survived. Out of 92 people on board, Julianne was the only known survivor of the Lanza Flight 508 crash. But survival came with a cost. Her collarbone was broken, her body was covered in deep cuts, her right eye was swollen nearly shut, and worst of all, she was completely alone in the Amazon rainforest. Julianne called out for her mother. "Mama, but there was no answer. She wandered through the wreckage looking for survivors. Occasionally, she saw bodies, passengers who had not survived the fall. The realization slowly hit her. She might be the only one alive. And the jungle around her was enormous. Thousands of square miles of dense rainforest. If she stayed where she was, rescue teams might never find her. She needed a plan. Luckily, Julianne remembered something her father had taught her. In the Amazon jungle, small streams lead to bigger rivers, and rivers lead to people. So instead of wandering randomly through the forest, she began searching for running water. Eventually, she found a small stream, and she made a decision that would save her life. She would follow it. For the next 11 days, Julianne walked along the stream. Sometimes she walked on the banks. Other times she waded directly through the water to avoid thick vegetation. The jungle was brutal. Mosquitoes swarmed constantly. Her injuries became infected. At one point, she discovered maggots inside a wound on her arm. But Julianne knew something important. Certain types of maggots actually eat dead tissue and prevent infection, so she left them there. Food was nearly impossible to find. She survived mostly by drinking water from the stream, and occasionally eating small pieces of candy she had found in the wreckage. At night, she slept on the forest floor, surrounded by strange jungle noises, howler monkeys, insects, unknown animals moving in the darkness. But every morning, she stood up and kept walking. Meanwhile, rescue teams were searching desperately. The crash shocked the country of Peru, but the jungle was vast. Helicopters searched for days without success. Eventually, authorities concluded that no one could have survived. The search was called off. But deep in the rainforest, Julianne was still walking. On the 11th day, something incredible happened. Julianne noticed a boat tied near the riverbank. Nearby stood a small wooden shelter, a logger's camp. For the first time since the crash, she knew other humans had been there, but no one was around. Exhausted and barely able to stand, she waited. Hours later, the loggers returned. At first, they were shocked. A thin, injured teenage girl appeared from the jungle, dirty, weak, and barely able to speak. She told them she had survived a plane crash. At first, they didn't believe her, but when they saw her injuries, they realized something extraordinary had happened. They treated her wounds and transported her by boat to the nearest town. After 11 days alone in the Amazon, Julianne Koepska was finally safe. News of her survival shocked the world. Out of 92 passengers, she was the only survivor. Experts believe several factors saved her life. The row of seats she was strapped into slowed her fall. The dense jungle canopy reduced the impact. And most importantly, her knowledge of the rainforest gave her the skills to survive. Years later, Julianne returned to the crash site with filmmaker Werner Herzog to film the documentary Wings of Hope. Instead of fearing the jungle, she chose to study it, following her parents' footsteps. She became a biologist specializing in the Amazon rainforest. The survival story of Julianne Koepka remains one of the most unbelievable events in aviation history. A teenager falling from the sky, surviving the impact, then walking alone through the Amazon for 11 days. Most people would have given up, but she didn't, step by step. She kept going. And sometimes survival comes down to one simple decision: keep moving forward. If you enjoyed this story and want more incredible real-life survival stories, make sure to like the video and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, what survival story should we explore next?